Hi, everyone. I'm back for another episode of Let's Talk About It with Bryan Moussako, a junior on the NYU basketball team. Bryan, thanks for coming on the show today.
Yeah, no problem. I'm excited to speak with you.
So, this is kind of a unique guest on Let's Talk About It. I found Bryan on TikTok. He posted an awesome video about his experience getting to NYU. And I think the episode title was like D3 manager to playing in the national championship, which is like, how do you not stop and read that on TikTok? It is totally blown up, which kind of reminds me of some of the videos and posts that I've made about my volleyball experience over the years. And I felt like it was just such an inspirational story and just a really vulnerable thing to post online for the world to see. So if you guys are interested in that, I will make sure to tag like Bryan in his TikTok so you guys can kind of look through that, maybe pause and listen to that before you listen to the rest of the episode. But honestly, I just read that TikTok, kind of looked through it, saw the comments and all the people who were relating to the story, and DM'd him right away and was like, hey, do you want to come on my show? And so that brings us to where we are today. So super excited to talk with you about that. Um, Bryan, I want to start off with just like, what made you decide to share that on TikTok? Like, you haven't necessarily graduated there. I don't know if there was like a specific moment, recently that made you think like you wanted to share that. Like, why did you want to share your story?
Yeah, of course. I go to NYU obviously, and I'm an engineering major, and it's funny. Like a lot of the colleges were saying, like, "That's so impressive that you're doing engineering, this and that." I'm like, I hate it. Like I really don't like engineering. I enjoy the challenge that comes with like studying engineering and like the stuff that comes with that. But I just was in a moment where I was like, I don't have an internship this summer. I'm grinding, like, playing basketball all the time. I was like, "Why not share my story and, see what happens with my platform?" And, a bunch of people really resonated with the story, a bunch of people really liked the story, and, from there, like, I ran with it, and, that's why I kinda posted on my story because I wanted to share it with people and, see where I can go with my own platform, so I kinda wanna boost my platform now. I'd say that's why I posted on my story.
Yeah, I mean, that's a great reason and people definitely resonated with it. I think what is really cool about your story, like for people who haven't gone through the TikTok, we told you guys to just go watch it, but if you haven't, just like you were very honest and raw about what happened. Like you say, like, I was short in high school and I didn't think I would make it. And I was cut within 2 days, or all of these different things. And you were very blunt. I don't feel like you sugarcoated it. And you didn't really point fingers necessarily at a lot of people. You just talked about that growth mindset and what I would say honestly is delayed gratification, which I think is like a huge theme on
Definitely.
Let's Talk About It, on
Mhm.
just being really strategic about your goals and recognizing what's actually in front of you and what the reality is, deciding where you want to be, figuring out what it takes to get there, and then slowly chipping away and doing those. And I think that's really awesome. Um, so let's start off. I think you kind of start off the whole TikTok talking about like you were undersized in high school and that it affected your mental, it affected how people saw you. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Mhm. So, in high school, I was, like, 5'5". So, obviously, like, NBA players or players who play basketball are very short or very tall, sorry, very tall. They're very tall. So, I got very discouraged because I knew that if I wanted to play at the higher level that, I would need to get bigger and taller 'cause I was not only small, I was also very skinny. So, it didn't help me that a lot of people were also telling me those things. Like, people would tell me, "Oh, like, you're short, like, you're not gonna play, like, past high school," or I would tell them, "Yeah, I wanna play basketball, like, until I can't anymore," and they would say, "Oh, I mean, you're gonna have to grow if you want that to happen." So, I would hear a lot of stuff like that, and that discouraged me, like, really early on. And I didn't really realize that, there's a lot of success stories with short people as well. Like I didn't know like the Muggsy Bogues or the Isaiah Thomas, like there's a lot of players who have succeeded at that short level. And I wish when I was younger that I studied those players so that when I actually did get my growth spurt, I was just that much more skilled. That was kind of what discouraged me at the beginning because, a bunch of people were like, all right, like, if you want to play basketball, like, I hope you grow. And I'm like, and I would just listen to them because I didn't really know that it really is within your heart that really is what's gonna take you further. So I wish I didn't get discouraged by that, but that's why I did.
Yeah, that's a really great point. I mean, I'm objectively tall.
Mm.
But
Yeah, I mean, you play volleyball, so.
But
I don't know if you're like the libero or
no, I'm 6 foot, but
okay, okay.
in my position, I am short. Like, when
Mhm.
I tell people, "Oh, I play Division I volleyball," people are like, "Oh, you're an outside?" Or like, "Are you a setter?" Because they're like, "There's no way you're middle," like, and
Mhm.
then I say, "Oh, I'm a middle," and they're like, "Oh, you must jump really high." And I'm like, "Yes, I've
Mhm.
trained my jump to be able to be a middle." But
Right.
I always look back at exactly what you're saying, like, people slide, like, past comments, like, passing comments of, like, "No, you're too short," like, "Are you sure you wanna do that? I don't know if that's possible," and they're telling you a lot of the time, this is people who've never actually seen you play. And it's just people kind of projecting, like, the stereotype or what they've seen or what they've heard from sports culture onto you, and if you don't recognize that and realize, like, "Hey, these are people that don't necessarily know everything that I'm capable of," like, that can really affect you. I think that's a really good point. And also, like you said, like, watching the tape of players who are like you. Like,
In you.
one of the girls that I talk about volleyball all the time is an alum from Cornell, and she and I played the same position at Cornell. We had very similar stats and we're very similar stature. And I remember asking my coach, like, "Hey, who should I watch, like, to, in NCAA sports?" So she's like, "You should go back and watch Jada." I'm gonna shout out Jada right now. I
Mhm.
actually, when I saw you and I was watching you, I thought of Jada, and that's a huge
Mhm.
part of the reason why, we kept recruiting you and we kept talking to you because we saw your stature represented in our program. And I think exactly what you're saying, like, finding athletes who are similar to you, especially when it comes to stature is so important. Uh,
Yeah, to add on that, like, I think because I love watching, like, LeBron James when I was younger, and I didn't realize that, like, LeBron James is literally, like, a once in a lifetime, like, I thought one day I'd be, like, 6'6", 230, like, but no, like, you have to really watch because everyone's accomplished something like that, like, at some type of feat or height, anything, so, like, if you can find somebody similar to your game, then why not? Why not watch them? Why not learn from them?
Yeah, and there's so many different ways of playing, especially
Mhm.
basketball. There's so many different I think you said this in your video too, like, there's so many different things that you can contribute to your team or
Exactly.
needed. And
Mhm.
basketball also the sport of switching. It's like you get subbed out and you go back in and the minutes are shared amongst the team. You don't need to be the LeBron. Like, you can be the shooter, you can be the defensive player. Like, you don't have to do whatever is, like, the big thing on TV at the time. Like, I love that. Since we're talking about this, we're both from Jersey. I grew up in New Jersey playing basketball. Like, I did that whole, AAU circuit and all of that. Do you remember, like, the big, like, basketball people in Jersey at the time when we were kind of growing up, and, like, how did that I feel like Jersey has, like, a deep AAU culture because we also are so close to New York City, everyone's traveling all the time, like, do you remember kind of that AAU culture, and how did that, impact your journey?
Mhm. So, this is honestly where the discouragement started as
Yep.
well, AAU. So, from, like, 3rd to maybe 5th or 6th grade, I played for this team called, like, Unity Sports, and, this team was, like we were really good, like, it was me, and then we had this kid who was, like, 6'6" at the time, and this is, like, in 4th, 5th grade. So, like, we were literally just passing the ball, and he would score, like, he would help us score because he's just so tall, and they'd have to, like, double team him. So, like, I thought my team was really good, like, at that time, and then I get to 7th grade, I tried out for this team called Hilltoppers, and this A team was, like, wildly known, like, there's this kid named Zion Cruz was on the team, Dariq Whitehead was on the team, there's a bunch of, like, people who are, like, in the NBA or, like, were 5 stars going out of high school who were on this team, and I was put on the B team for that team, well, we practice with the A team. So I practice with them all the time. And they're again, like I said, like they were ahead of me just from like a growth standpoint. Like they were already like 6'2", 6'3", already able to like windmill dunk. I couldn't even get the backboard. Um, so that's kind of where I got discouraged. But I was around like all those like type of players when I was younger. Like I was around I don't know, like Elliot Cadeau, if you know him. I went to camps with him. I went to camps with him, and, like, that was when, like, all, like, the Jelly Fam and, like, Ratty
Yeah, that's what I was waiting for you to say. I was like,
yeah, 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 so, like, so I was, like at the time, like, I was cool with Elliot, and he, like, made me, like, Ratty Fam. So, like, for like, up until my senior year of high school, like, I was like rf.moose, like my Instagram, like that was me. And then when, like he got a lot better and like we got out of contact, like, I didn't really have any reason to have RF in my like thing anymore. And like neither does anyone else anymore. Like it's kind of like not like cool anymore to have that in your like bio or Instagram, whatever name. So I don't have it in my name anymore, but, like, I used to be, like, RF.Moose, like, it used to be, like, RF Moose, RF Moose 23, stuff like that.
That is
So,
so Jersey. Like, I
yeah, it is so Jersey, it really is.
time I, like, meet someone like, I was like this at Syracuse too. Anytime I meet someone that says they're from Jersey or New York, I'm like, "Were you Jelly Fam? Like, did you watch these videos?" Like, I grew up playing AAU basketball, like, that was, like, my whole life and everything, like, I did the pre-EYBL circuit because I quit while I was in high school, but, like, we did all of that, and you really do compare yourself to these people, and let's be honest, like, when you have overtime and slam, like, coming to your tournaments and coming to your gym that you practice in and people, swarming your teammates right after like, after games, like, how do you not,
Right.
like, doubt yourself, right? Like, how do you
Mhm.
not compare yourself? And it's such a weird experience. I had a really similar thing with volleyball too, where it's like, okay, I'm in this gym. I'm practicing with y'all, so I'm not crazy that I'm obviously good enough. Like I deserve to be around here. But when you're always
Uh-huh.
surrounded by that 0.01%, like you kind of forget that that's rare and you forget kind of the value that you have too. At least that was my experience.
Mhm. I think the especially in high school, like, middle school up into high school, like, the biggest issue for me was just comparison. Like, I was just always comparing to the 0.1%, or I was comparing to the kid who already has 20 offers already. Like, I was always comparing to that, and then that's what discouraged me, and then that didn't make me wanna work as hard as I know I could've maybe, like, early on. I feel like comparison, like, even, like, at any level, like, I think that's just, like, the biggest thing, like, you really cannot compare yourself to anyone else because we're all running our own journey. Um, and yeah, like I wish that I knew that in high school and middle school that we're all running our own journey. Like you never know where you might end up in like 2 years if you put the work in, or a year if you put the work in. So, I think that's why I've gone a lot better, like from like high school to college. It's just like I stopped comparing. I just kept stacking days. But like comparison, especially in Jersey, it's like it's gonna happen. Like there's just so many good basketball players in Jersey. It's so gritty. It's so like cutthroat with hoops. So like I think that's why like it's really like Jersey's where it's at for basketball for sure.
It really is. I'll die on that hill.
Yeah.
So my next thing I guess we kind of are like in real time going through that TikTok thing. I mean, but
Mhm.
talked a little bit about, like, you got your first offer, from Moravian and you decided not to go. Later down the line, you ended up going to Franklin and Marshall and then eventually to NYU. With all of this, like, comparison and comparing people who have lots of offers and different things, like, why not take that offer right away and kind of join that group of people who are committed and going to the next level right away?
Mhm. Yeah, so actually it's funny enough, like my mom always like gets mad at me sometimes that I didn't accept that. Because I wanted like what I wanted to do was play basketball. But I also wanted to go to a school where, if basketball doesn't work out, like I could still venture off into another like I don't know, cat life or
Yeah, like
another,
after basketball.
yeah, another career path. So I think that was really important for me, and especially since the level of offers I was getting was D3, it was like, all right, like if I'm getting these offers from Moravian, which is a great school too, like it's not a bad school. It just didn't fit my like what I wanted to do for my career. And I was like, okay, like I much rather have a fit of academic and also basketball. And I knew that Moravian wasn't going to fulfill that for me at the time out of high school. And that's why I ultimately didn't decide to go to Moravian and decided to go to Franklin Marshall instead, because I was like, all right, like I still believe I know I could play D3 basketball for sure. Like I believe that before I even went. So I was like, all right, I might as well try and get to the best school possible. And if that's a good D3 school, which Franklin Marshall was, I'm going to take that chance. And that's why I ended up going to Franklin Marshall instead of Moravian. Um, it might have not been the best decision like in the time after I got cut. But everything happens for a reason. I got lucky getting to NYU after I got cut, so,
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. So one of the things that has become like a hallmark thing of Let's Talk About It is this idea that like the love of your life could break up with you, but
Mm.
nothing hurts you more than the sport you love.
Yes.
Like, there's nothing that will just, like like, I don't know, there's just no gut-wrenching feeling as, like, when the sport you love doesn't love you back, or it feels like it doesn't love you back, and I feel like that's kind of what you talked about when you got to Franklin and Marshall after having you kinda spent the whole summer training and working, and then you get there and you're cut after a couple of
Mhm.
days. Can you talk a little bit about, like, what led up to that summer? What where was your mindset at,
Yeah.
and all of that?
So after, like, the end of high school, or, like, our team won the championship and, like, our sectional championship, and, like, that was the
It's a
first time
big,
we won.
big deal in Jersey, guys.
Yeah, that's a big deal in Jersey, yeah, yeah, and, like, that was the first time we won in, like, 30 years, and we played a bunch of, like, really tough newer teams, and, like, I was expecting, like, after that to, maybe get an offer or more interest, and, like, I didn't get a single interest in that. Already, like, lit a fire under me, and going into the summer, like, I spent like, I was like, the summer before my senior year was the first summer, like, I really, like, worked on my game every single day. I worked, like, countless hours. And I was like, "Alright," like, I thought I worked really hard last summer and, like, we won a championship, like, how much harder can I really go? So then that summer, like, I was literally, I don't know what was on my For You page, I don't know what, like, people I was around, but I was just like, "Alright, I have to wake up at 5 a.m. every single day and, like, get better." Like, that was I don't know why, like, I thought that was the way I was gonna get better, like, I was just trying stuff. So every day, like, I actually worked at our high school as well, like, I worked from 8 to 3. So every day I would wake up at 5 AM, I would go outside, work out, and my neighbors hated me, like, I was like, this is legit, like, I woke up at 5 AM every day, my neighbors hated me to the point where one of my neighbors actually bought me headphones, like, as a graduation gift because I would be outside so loud in the backyard. So I would go out 5 AM, played, and then after that, I would go lift at the high school where I worked at from 7 to 8, and then school would start. My job would start from 8 to 3, and, like, I would just do, like, custodian stuff, and then I would work out after again. But, like, that was my routine, and, like, I thought, like, I would go to bed like 10 or 11, and, like, I was really getting no sleep, like, I was just, like, going, going, going because I thought that was how I was gonna get better, and I thought that was, like, the daily, like, habits that I need to create, and it helped, like, it definitely helped, like, going to F&M and, like, we had early morning lifts, like, I was always the first one there, stuff like that, like, it helped with that, but I didn't realize that it's also, like, the quality of the work that you put in, and, like, as much as I was, like, working every day, waking up at 5 AM every day, like, the quality of the workouts I was having wasn't as good as they have been now in the future because I realized that it's more quality instead of quantity. You can still have the quantity as long as it's quality workouts, you know what I mean? So, when I got to F&M after I burnt out from, like, the 5 AM workouts every single day, like, not only were the quality of my workouts not nearly as good as I thought they could be, I also was, like, tired, like, I literally spent the entire summer working out, and then the rule was for D3 that you can't have practice until October 15th officially. So that was, like, my official, like, tryout date. So I was doing everything with the Franklin Marshall team unofficially from August 30th all the way to October 15th, which means, like, team lifts, team pickup, team conditioning, like, all that I was doing optional, like, as a technical manager. Um, so, like, that was kinda, like, why I feel like I burnt out going to F&M because, like, I was just working out so much, but it wasn't really quality, so I didn't even know what the quality of workouts would be, and, I get there and, like, the quality wasn't the same as it should have been, so, yeah.
I feel like a lot of people will be listening to this episode as a guideline almost, or
Mhm,
people who are in a similar situation. Like, I hope that they're watching this to like to learn and to get that information that you can't just find on Google. When you
mhm,
say like the quality of the workouts, like what do you mean? Like you were tired, you weren't able to finish reps, or like what do you kind of mean by that?
so what I mean by that is, like, being able to do something for 4 or 5 reps really well instead of 15 reps mediocre is like that is your baseline. Like you need to be able to do like say like I'm working on like my mid-range pull-up, like one dribble pull. Like if I'm doing like really hard reps where I'm really focusing on my footwork, really focusing on how like the ball comes out, like once I get to the top, like if I focus on that for 5 reps, that will be way more beneficial than working on it 15 times and, you're, like, tired, or you get fatigued after 7, or, like, you start, like, losing the ball after 8, like, I think quality was the biggest change for me going, like, as I was getting better because I love to work, like, I love to work out, like, it was never an issue to get me in the gym, it was never an issue to wanna work out 2, 3 times a day, it was always just like, all right, like, how good can my reps be if I work out 3 times a day? You know what I mean? So I think that is something that you see on Google or you see on TikTok is like, all right, if you do this for like 3 minutes, then you will get better. No, it's like if you do this for 3 minutes, but you are like sweating after 5 reps and like really focusing on that, then that's when you really are gonna see improvement. And I feel like that was the biggest difference from when I started going into F&M like my senior year until like after when I got cut and I had to start working out on my own, like, I thought that was the biggest difference for me.
Yeah, and that's a very frustrating change to make in time when you're surrounded by lots of people. Like,
Yes.
right? Like
Absolutely.
like
Absolutely.
like, that is the mind because it's already a mindset shift to
Mhm.
hold yourself accountable and be really disciplined in one-on-one practice or when you're
Mhm.
working by yourself. But then you're getting into a gym where maybe already feel like you're at the bottom of the totem pole and people are all looking at you and coaches constantly evaluating you. To be able to make that mindset shift and be okay with failing or moving more slowly mentally, that is so hard, that is so
Yeah.
difficult, and I also think I can imagine for myself, I think I would have been training that whole summer potentially with a chip on my shoulder and very maybe negative of like, you have to wake up at 5 AM almost like in a punishment almost sense rather than
Mhm.
like, this is the time that I'm available to wake up because it might work. Was that how your mindset was over the summer? Was it positive or was it this like negative, like kind of like dark thing?
You actually put up a really good point that, like, reminds me of, like, why I was waking up at 5. I think it was more of a negative thing because like, damn, like, I thought, like, I would be able to put myself in a position where I could play at a good academic D3 school, and, like, I couldn't even do that, and I was just like, "Alright, like, that's like, this is my chip on my shoulder, like, I gotta wake up at 5 AM because I couldn't even get this, like, this is a punishment for me," like, that's how I thought about it, and I feel like that also hurt me because like, I have to understand, like, also, like it's like things happen, like, situations happen, like, you might not get an offer, like, the wrong coaches didn't see you didn't play well at the right time, like, things happen. And, like, sometimes you have to realize that not like, it's not an issue that you have to work a little harder than other people, that's not an issue, but it's like, "Alright, if I'm gonna work harder than other people, I'm gonna do it in a positive way." Like, I'm working more harder because I want to get to a higher place. It's like, that's how I think you should think about it, and, like, I totally agree, like, I didn't even think about that, like, when I recall, like, when I used to wake up at 5 AM every day, it really was on some, like, negative connotation 'cause I definitely didn't believe that I was in the situation I was, and I just wanted to work that much harder.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I feel like a really normal thing, I think, that people have of, like I just think it's a common thing when people say, like, "Oh, I failed," or I was cut," or whatever happened, like, a girl I was DMing with recently, like, I was, talking to me about some issues that she was having with her team, and she's like, "I just have to
Mhm.
work harder." And I was like,
Right.
"Maybe you have to work smarter, or maybe you just have to hold on longer, you have to
Oh
wait
my
longer."
god, yes.
Right? Like, maybe you are working hard, and I don't want you like, don't discredit your hard work just because it didn't you haven't succeeded or hit your goal yet. You might just need to wait longer or work smarter.
Mhm.
Which I don't know,
Yeah, I love that, like, just either work smarter or, like, work what would you say? Well, say it again,
wait
you say work smarter.
wait
That was more, like, that was a bar.
yeah.
Well,
Wait longer or work smarter.
yeah, wait longer or work smarter, yes.
Yeah,
Yes,
I
'cause
love that.
patience is also a thing that you need to have in a situation especially in my situation too, like, I'm in a position where I'm waiting for an opportunity to arise. So I really do have to be patient and also work smarter because I'm in a situation where not only do I have to wait for that opportunity, but I have to be ready for when that opportunity arises. So I think that is something I love that. Like that might have to be like the title or something. Wait longer, work smarter.
We can definitely
That's so fire.
figure
That's so
something out with that.
yeah.
So speak like again on this theme of delayed gratification, and
Mhm.
I think there it was 2 parts for you. It was the academic part, which was it sounds like almost at times more important to you than the basketball part, which I really think is really cool. And then 2, the athletic part. So Franklin and Marshall, you decide to leave, you go to NYU. Very similar situation, it sounds like. Like, I don't know, as much as you can, like, what happened there and why or what was that conversation like with the coach at NYU and why still go?
So a part of the story that isn't on the TikTok that I wish was a little more clear is that I actually like, this is, like, all chance, is all, like, God, whatever. Uh, I went and I helped my trainer out with a camp, and the head coach was at the camp. The NYU head coach was at the camp. So I got, like, face-to-face time with the NYU head coach, and, I told him my story, and then from there, he was like, "Okay, like, you could send me your film, but like, there's a low chance, like, we'll have a spot for you because like, our squad is already full, like, there's even if your film is good, like, there's a low chance that we can take you on our team." So I sent him my film, and then after I sent him my film, like, he just, like, liked the text. So, like, I was like, "Alright, there's, like, no chance that I get anything out of this NYU thing." And then my dad was, like, very like, high on me applying, like, he wanted me to apply, like, a bunch he wanted me to apply to Harvard, Stanford, to transfer. I was just like, "Alright, dad," like, my dad always had, like, the most confidence in me, uh, but he was just like, "Alright, like, if you're not gonna apply to any of these schools, at least apply to NYU." And I was like, "Alright, like, I'll apply to NYU, then we'll see what happens." But I had no confidence whatsoever that the NYU thing was gonna like, fall through at all. So that's why I committed to Rutgers Newark, because I was at a point where I was like, "Alright, like, I've seen the college experience, I really need basketball with that college experience," whether it's at Moravian, whether it's at Rutgers Newark, whether it's in the middle of Alaska. I need basketball with my experience of college. Like, I knew that. So that's why I was like, "Alright," I gave up all the, like, stuff I said. I'm like, "Alright, I'm gonna go to Rutgers Newark." And then for some reason, like, the transfer application to NYU come late. So I got with my acceptance letter, like, May 14th after I already committed, after I was practicing with Rutgers Newark for, like, a week. Like, I literally get that email, I'm like, "Oh, shit." Like, so I got I tell my mom, and, like, it was really, like, a point where I had to decide, like, am I gonna bet on myself again? Because I joked about it. I joked about it with, like, my friends at F&M. I'm like, "If I get into NYU, I'm gonna try out for the team again." And they're like, "Really?" I'm like, "Hell yeah, like, I'm gonna try out again." But, like, I didn't really like, I would say it, but I didn't really, like, know, like, "Oh, I'm about to get into this again. This is about to be another F&M again, like, if I don't do this smarter." So, I got in NYU, I reached out to the coach after I got in, and, like, I don't know if you saw the email from like, my TikTok, but, like, he
What?
was yeah, yeah, like, he he literally said, like, "Yeah, like, I want like, happy that you got in, like, a lot of the players that we wanted didn't get in, but, like, I hope you have a good time at Rutgers Newark." Like, he basically was like,
What
"Oh, like, cool that you got in, but,
does
like."
it have to do with me?
Yeah, it got nothing to do with me. So I had to, like, reapply pressure again. I called him because he lives in my town as well. So this is another thing I left out in the story. He lives in New Jersey, in my town. So I put on pressure on him again, and then, like, I just happened to be in a lot of the spaces that he was at, like, the camps his kids were in, like, I happened to run them.
You're like, "You ain't learned you're not getting
Like,
rid of
his favorite ice cream place I happened to work at the time. It was crazy, like, so I was always, like, in his head a little bit, like, and he called me, and said, "Hey, like, we're having pickup in NYU, like, you could come with, another kid who, like, lives in my town and also plays in our conference, and, like, you can, like, come and play." And that kid couldn't even go, and, like, I thought, like, if he came, like, it would, like, take all the attention on him, and, like, he wouldn't even watch it, but he couldn't even come, he got hurt that like, the day before. So
Dang.
I was literally the only one who went to the pickup. I meet all the players on the team, and then, like, the assistant coach happened to be playing in the pickup as well. So we play, and I thought I played really well. or I played really hard. The coach, like, took me on a tour after, and then, like, a month later, like, the coach like, head coach calls me again, and he tells me, like, "Hey, like, we want you to be on the team as a manager, and if you want to be on this team, like, if you wanna be at this team, like, as a player at any capacity, like, you have to take this step as a manager, or, like, there's no really possibility of you being on the team." So I was like, remembering from, like, F&M, like, with the experience I had, I'm like, "Okay, like, I know that if I wanna be on this team, I have to serve in a different way before I can serve in the way I want." So I was just serving as like, an energizer, as a guy who everyone wants to be around, like, I was serving as that, like, and that's just me as a person too. It's not even like I was, like, faking it or anything like that. It's just me as a person. I wanna be around good vibes. I wanna be around good basketball, like, that's where I wanna be around. So, it was so easy for me to do, and, like, that came natural, and I think the coaches noticed that, and that's why they wanted me around, because they originally told me they didn't want me at practice, like, every day, and then, like, after that changed, like, I was just at practice every day because they wanted me to be there. They wanted me to be around the guys. Um, and after about, like, 2 weeks of actually being a manager, I got, like, a little discouraged as well, and I had a conversation with the assistant coach to, like, reassure him that he knew that I really wanna be a player as much as I might be good at being a manager. I want to be a player. I want to play basketball. Oh, so I just, like, reiterated that to him, and, he told me, he's like, "Hey, like, we're one injury away from, like, you playing in the inner squad. Be patient and continue to do your thing. Like, you never know what could happen." And literally that practice, somebody got injured, and I got an opportunity to play in the practice, and then the day after that practice was, like, our inner squad scrimmage. So they needed an extra guy to play, and I'm like, "Alright, well, that's me now." Again, like, I played really hard, and I think one of the things that our coach used to say all the time, and I think really has resonated with my story, is that luck favors the prepared. And, like, it really does. Like, if you are prepared, if the luck comes, you are going to be prepared for that situation. And I was, and I ran with it. And after that inter squad, I became a practice player fully for a month. And then after that month, I was still the same Moose, like, energizing everyone on the team, like, being someone everyone wants to be around. And then after a month, coach rewarded me with a jersey. um, and, that was, like, a really great moment for me. I called my dad, like, right after it happened, and, like, he was always hard on me, so he's just like, "Okay, Brian, like, this is good, but now you have another level to get to." And I'm like, "Right, well, thanks, like, for saying, like, happy you made the team." But, it was a really long and daunting process just to be a part of a D3 team. Like, you wouldn't think it would be that hard to join a D3 team, but for me, it was like freaking rocket science. So, and I don't know if you want me to keep going about, like, the
Oh, no,
NYU.
that was great. I have so many things, like,
Okay.
the first thing is just not hearing hearing no and or no but, I think is so important. A lot of people, I think, would have just seen the first roadblock and said, "Oh, I can't get there," right? Like, you can join as a manager, you can join as a practice player, and it's like, "Well, I don't wanna do that, so that this isn't the right path for me."
Mhm.
Instead of kinda seeing through the weeds and the trees and kind of
Right.
cutting down their own path and being happy with it. I think another thing that is really resonating with me is just thinking as a Division I athlete and my friends who are Division I athletes and different people and hearing them speak about their experience, I think just you've challenged me to be more grateful for my experience and what I've had. Because, like what you just said, who would have thought it would be this hard to get on the D3 team, and for me, it was rocket science. I think there's so much going on right now around what college athletes deserve and what the value that we bring and all of that, and that can all still be true. But just taking a moment here, like, on the show to recognize, like, that this is a dream for people and that this just the basis of being able to play is something that you worked for so long for with
Yeah.
that's a really humbling experience. Like,
Mhm.
that this is different than, oh, I just put a story on Instagram about, like, sitting the bench for so many years. Like, this is different than sitting on the bench. or not
I was
have.
sitting behind the bench.
Yeah,
This is you know what's really funny? What's really funny is that I used to joke with, like, some of the players on my team and manager this year, like, I'm trying to get from behind the bench to the end of the bench. Like, that was what I was trying to do. Like, there's levels. Like, I'm at behind the bench. I'm trying to get to the end of the bench, and then from the end of the bench, then I start moving up to, like, oh, you might get considered to play in the game, and then you're considered you play in the game, and then you start the game. Like, there's levels to it, and, like, I was behind the bench, like, I was just trying to get to the end. So,
I'm clipping that. I'm go
yeah.
That's gonna be a mini clip. That's hilarious. Um but yeah, I guess that's exactly what I'm trying to say. You get to say it because you get to say whatever you want to yourself. I'm not gonna say that.
Mhm,
But, like, yeah, like, there's just a big thing there. I think that's a really important story for people to hear, and also just that, like, you can do it, that it can happen.
mhm,
It just might not happen the way you want to, and also just the way you swallowed your pride and were able to cheer on your teammates and stuff. Like, people say all the time, like, when they're on the bench, like, "I could be doing this person is doing that, like, I should be out there." Like, I'm sure
mhm.
that's gone through your head. Um, yeah, that there's so much there.
Yeah.
I don't know if this will be good, but I think I love, like, coming up with stuff for the show that's, like, new and, like, trying to find those topics and things people really can't say.
Mhm,
This might be wrong, so I might not end up putting this in there, but we're gonna record it. Just fine.
mhm.
And if you don't like it, you can take it out. You were saying there, like, when you were having a conversation with your coach that you were one they were one injury away from you being able to play. And I think that that is a really common experience for people that are on the bench or when there's a competition between a teammate for a spot. And we know that it's not always direct competition against that person. You're fighting with that person. You're competing against yourself and you're competing for an opportunity. But it does often feel like there's a specific person in your way.
Mhm.
And when something like that is said, of like, we're an injury away, I feel like it can put us into a really negative and like mean mindset.
Mhm.
And I think just being honest, like, that is definitely something that's happened even for me, like, someone got injured, and so I got an opportunity to play. How did you manage, like, those kind of, like, comments or, like, that kind of being in that position as, like, your ability to play, especially, like, in a
So
team sport?
yeah, definitely. So, like I was saying before, though, like at that point, I was still in the space of I'm serving in a different way. So, like, I was serving as the manager for the team, and I knew that. So, like, him telling me, "Oh, we're one injury away from you playing," was honestly like encouraging. Like, I was like some motivation for me, like just continue to stay prepared. But a way that I've thought about it, like future, because I was at the end of I was behind the bench last year and I played a lot this year. So the way I always thought about it was like control what you can control and put your best foot forward. And you're just gonna have to surrender the outcome from there. Because whatever happens, as long as you put your best in, that is all you can be happy with. Like I've said, like my whole journey just to play basketball has been like a tumult, like just a whole lot of trials and tribulations, and I could say at this current moment that I'm still giving my best, and that's all I'm thinking about. Like, that's all I'm trying to do, like, every day, like, give my best, give my best, give my best, because then my best can get even better if I keep doing that. Like, this also goes back to even the start, like, comparison. Like, I can't compare to anyone. Like, I was telling myself going into next year because we were recruiting a lot for the next year, I was telling myself, "I don't care if they bring in LeBron James. I don't. I really don't. It's just I'm just going to give my best every single day and hope that whatever happens, happens for me because I gave my best. And I'm just gonna have to live with that and surrender the outcome. Like I think that's something that I really believe is true and is something that is a way to get past the comparison and get past the, "Oh, this person's in front of me, this da 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 da." It's like, I'm just gonna surrender the outcome of me giving my best. And if I didn't give my best, that's on me. It's always on you. Like, you control your own destiny. It's you versus you. Like, I really, really believe that. I'm starting to see that, like, in my, like, everyday life and, like, my process as a player. Like, I think that is the biggest thing, like, if you, like, ever think, "Oh, this guy's in front of me, that's why I don't play," or, like, "Oh, like, if he got injured, like, I'd be playing this game." Like, no, like, just give your best every single day, and if that your best isn't better than that guy, then keep applying that best, because maybe that one day, that guy won't give their best, and you give your best, and your best was better than them, and now now you got that opportunity, you know what I mean? So, I think that is really important, just being able to surrender the outcome and, give your best foot forward all the time. I think that's the biggest thing for sure.
That's amazing. I think we can end right there. Brian,
Yeah.
thank you so much for coming on the show today.
Mhm. No problem, yeah. I appreciate you for having me. That was some good stuff.
Hey guys, it's Sydney. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Let's Talk About It. If you did, make sure to leave a review and send it to your friend. Let's keep this conversation going. I'll see you guys next week.